Yep. It's your boy, the Hood Nerd, bringing you Hood Nerd Red Pill Talk presents the Quick Dive. And I know you see Deep Dive. The Deep Dive is what I do for my podcast. The Quick Dives will be YouTube videos. Quick Dives will be no longer than 30 minutes. And, subscribe to both. Podcasts available on all platforms. YouTube videos, though, we'll tackle trending topics, certain things I just don't feel like worthy of 3 and 4, 5-part episodes in those type of deep dives. So that's why I call it the quick dive. So this video, we're gonna listen to fair use. We're gonna listen to the Cocktail Queen's thoughts on the Michelle Obama Zaya Wade situation. We'll let that play. I'll pause it here and there as I always do and give my commentary on it.
Well, we don't know what this guy said, and how do you know he was Asian? Did you see a picture of him through the live? That's also weird. So I don't know.
It could have actually been a ploy to get us to talk about him because don't nobody know who he is.
Well, correct. Moving on. Looks like the First Lady, forever First Lady Michelle Obama and Zaya Wade are being called out by former hitmaker J Boog of the group B2K. Now, Mrs. Obama and Zaya Wade, she praised Zaya's courage for, bravery, for living in her truth during an interview last week. But J Boog had a very negative take on the interaction. This is what J Boog wrote of B2K. This is not cool. Very demonic. Using this child for their new agenda. Take away the man, make the woman the new man, and no more reproduction. What do y'all think about J Boog's comments? And do you?
Is that their new agenda? No, that's not what I believe their new agenda is. And I'll chime in more on it, but that's not what the new agenda is. That's somebody who's just putting a pinky toe into the red pill water at this point. But no, they're not trying to replace the man. They got something bigger in store than replacing the man. It's just, like I said, when you're a two-dimensional thinker, you only see certain things. So
feel like there's a new agenda being pushed to accept the trans and gay community and an agenda to get rid of traditional male-female relationships and reproduction.
And that's not it either. Everybody should be allowed to do what they want to do. Like I said, you get gay people where it's like, I'm gay, let's throw a parade. There's no big deal to me. Like, that's the one thing I always felt Kevin Hart made a mistake on. When he was doing that video and he caught that heat for Lil Nas X, I don't think he explained himself correctly. But I understood what he meant when it was like, it's 2020. I think it was like 2019, 2020 at this point. It's like, what's the big deal? And right at this point, what is the big deal? You sleeping with a man, I sleep with a woman, either or, nobody's seeing whoever's sleeping with like out in public. Like, all of this is sexual preference. So it's like, to each his own, though. But, we in a world at this point where it's just like, let's throw a parade like it's a unicorn or something rare. When all it is something simple. It's sexual preference at this point. It's like, I'm coming out the closet. Okay, you coming out the closet, and what? Okay, what's next? You can get into the whole, this is that. It's like I say, a lot of these issues and what people feel about this, a lot of this stuff stems back to religious conversations and cultural conversations. But if a man want to sleep with a man, if a woman want to sleep with a woman, if a man feels like he should be a woman, if a woman feels like he should be a man, so be it. For me, don't force it. Just like you don't want certain things forced on your children, don't force that lifestyle on people. But to me, it just is what it is. If that's the choice you make, that's the choice you make. It's America.
I don't think it's down to that. I do think that there is a new world order
Yes.
Definitely, I do think that. But it ain't just that. It is just to get rid of us. You know what I mean? That's what I think. And that's what all the fight.
See, again, people who just see things, they personalize everything. I think it's to get rid of us. No, they don't want to get rid of the so-called black man or woman either. That's not what the New World Order is about. And this New World Order people are talking about, you've been living in the New World Order for quite a while now. You just don't realize it. But
fighting and the protesting and all of that is about. But I do, you got to stand in your truth. And if, what's his name?
J-Bug.
The baby.
Zaya.
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 I think it's Zaya Wade. Or is that?
when you see as Vivica just had her Freudian slip at that point. If he wants to be referred to as Zaya, then refer to her as Zaya at this point. Like for me, I'm all about respect. Hey, you want to be referred to as Joe Blow. And you want to be referred to as you create a gender. If that's what you want to be referred to as, you respect the person's wishes and refer to them as what they want to be referred to as. It's quite simple.
I think it's
okay. Excuse me if I pronounce it wrong, but if this is how she feel and she identify, then who are we to say that it is wrong? Really, they as gay people have lived underground for so long in their own bubble, in their own world. And let me tell you something. I love the children. I have been to drag shows. Love it. Then look at the makeup, look at the hair. Love to dance with them. Love to pantomime. I pantomime my ass off. Okay,
baby, you will have the best time, get the best makeup and the best weave. With
I
children.
walk the face, walk the labels, and okay, I am there with them. They are fun ass people. You know what I mean? And they are people, period. And so now that they're getting their just due and they're able to let the lid off the can a little bit, they like, you know what I mean? It's a brand new day for them. So they're celebrating them. So I don't think that Miss Obama was a part of a new era, age, or whatever they're saying. I think that she saw this.
Now that's them protecting Black women at that point. Because if you believe this is a part of that agenda, then she's a part of it. Just because Barack was a Black president, a so-called Black president, African-American president, I'll tell anybody in a heartbeat, he didn't do anything to progress the African-Americans in this country besides being that face. That's it. And it's nothing wrong with calling a spade a spade. TV is all one big TV show. When they put these people in front of you, these are characters they are now playing. The nice lady that you see on TV it doesn't coincide with the hood chick Michelle Obama told you she was when she was growing up on the south side of Chicago. So you have to understand people are in character. As the women like to say, their representative, which you see as Michelle Obama's representative on a day-to-day basis. That's what you saw on TV. That's what you've fallen in love with. Because to be honest, that's what most women aspire to be. It's who they are and who they let the world see that they are. And it's why a lot of times when you're dealing with mental health issues and suicides and all these other things, they was just so happy and it was this, it was that. And it's like, that's what you see on TV. That's not what's going on in reality. Like I always tell people, when we love to say, if I was rich or I was this, I wouldn't have these issues anymore. Robin Williams was a comedian. His job was to make people laugh. Man took his own life, didn't want to be here anymore, was depressed. All of these things just hide all of the real issues. You're able to mask a lot of issues when you start dealing with money and all these other things. So you'll always figure out other things to blame, because once you get the money, then you'll get back to it's systematic racism or it's feminism or it's classism or it's colorism. It's a shitload of isms these people want to talk about instead of just, why do I behave the way I behave?
this girl that identifies as a transgender and is saying, you know what? It's strong for you, strong of you to be able to come out and know that you're going to get ridiculed and know that people are going to talk about you and still stand in your truth. I think that that's what she was saying. She was commending her for that.
Yeah. Selena, what do you think?
What? This makes me extremely angry and sad at the same time. Because as a mother, this is bullying of a young child, first and foremost. First of all, Michelle Obama is...
Now, right there where I'm going to pause and tell you what Selena is full of crap at, is to say it's bullying of a young child. As a mother and as a parent, my children aren't going to be front and center for any of these issues. They aren't to be the face of things that adults are doing. This child started this transition 2-3 years ago. This child's mother was still saying last year, I had 3 boys. So I think it's Zaya. No, I think this child's name was Zion, I believe. But even if I'm wrong, she had a boy. That's what she wanted to identify him as. Now, what you see now is you have 2 parents who love you. They don't talk about Savannah anymore at all. They're not mentioning his real mother, his birth mother. They've now given this child is the birth creation of Gabrielle Union at this point, Zaya Wade. Now, the mother gave birth to a boy. Gabrielle Union gave birth to Zaya Wade. And these are the agendas now that I'm talking about, where Selena is, no, as a parent, this is bullying. Your child shouldn't be in front of any of this stuff at 13. They don't understand the world they live in at this point. Hell, as adults, most adults don't understand the world they live in at this point. You don't put a 13, at that point when it started, you don't put a 10 or 11-year-old at the head of a movement and to be the shield, the human shield for a lot of people to get past and to pass the agendas that they're trying to pass at this point, which is all this is.
Empowering and motivating a child to live in their truth in 2021. We are not back in 1922 when people were afraid to be who they were, especially Black people. This baby has the courage to...
Listen again, baby. I have to understand you're talking about a child. But as I get to the end of this, I'll tell you what the agenda is.
Say, hey, this is who I want to be, and her parents are loving on her through it. What is the alternative? To not love her?
See what she said, her parents? Not talking about the child's real mother, though. They're talking about Gabrielle Union and Dwayne Wade.
And see, then we wonder why young little Black girls and boys are committing suicide and killing themselves behind being bullied because you don't like the way that their natural manipulation of evolution as children is happening for them.
Now, you hear how they're saying the natural evolution. And I want you to understand, again, these are feminist talking points. Because when a man tells you, I just want to be a polygamist, and this is what I have evolved into, I don't want to be with one woman. I want to have as many children as I want, which she's going to allude to with Future. When they're saying all that, then these women have a problem with it. See, they have a problem when you want to be something that they don't want you to be. Now, when it falls in line with their agenda, then there's all of these things about sexual liberation and let's move forward. Let's be progressive. When a man tells you, hey, yo, this don't feel natural for us to be sleeping with one woman, you know what we get then? No, that's just you. You can't fight your sexual urges and you're not a real man. A real man know how to commit and do all of this. Now, they always want to hold us in the man has to be held in this traditional role. That's why I tell you these women don't even have a clue what the agenda is. But like I said, I'll get to it at the end. They want to hold the man in the traditional role and they want to be in this untraditional role. They want everything else to be untraditional, but they want the man to be traditional. This is the crazy trick bag you get in and you start dealing with people. I tell you, it's why I became an introvert. These people batshit crazy, man.
Okay, so for me, I'm very, very, very upset and sad at how this world treats the LGBTQ and children who are in the place of discovering who they are. Because a couple of years, 20 some years ago, they were afraid to do that. So now this newer generation has more courage, and they're doing that. And on the other hand, J. Bull, get the fuck out of here, because with the whole, you're gonna stop the male population. I wish somebody would tell Future that the male population is gonna stop with gay people, because he don't.
Future ain't had nothing to do with this. But again, like I said, that's that modern woman wanting to have conversations again about men and being with one woman. When in fact, I have this conversation with my girl all the time, and it's just, hey, yo, we should be doing this, we should be doing that, and you get all these women. You got the woman talking about the no side chick campaign, hashtag no side chick for the month and all that. Do women understand they outnumber men? They outnumber heterosexual men. Now, when you take homosexual men and move them out of the pocket, then you're talking about, especially in our culture, you move the homosexual men out, take them out, throw them to the side. Then you take the men who locked up, throw them to the side. Who are these women supposed to sleep with then? Are we not in competition then? Is it survival of the fittest? If a woman wants a child, that would mean she's going to have to sleep with somebody's man. It's just logically. But again, like I tell you, you're dealing with people, dog. They don't deal in logic. They're not three-dimensional thinkers. They deal in nothing but emotions, man. These are people who are agents of chaos, man.
Seem to have gotten the memo. Okay, then men ain't gonna never stop populating, even when the fuck they not supposed to be populating. I know that's wrong cursing, but that made me
see when they're not supposed to be. And you know why they're not supposed to be? Because that's the new world. See, everybody else allowed to evolve and be who they are, living their truth, not men. Future ain't cheating on these women or none of that. That's just a man who's going from woman to woman, and he can take care of them, having children. What's wrong with that? What laws has he broken? None, but it doesn't fit inside of the world they want you to live in. Men aren't allowed to evolve. We are just not allowed to live in our truths. That's just what it is, man.
Man, even when they're not supposed to be populating, they're going to continue to populate. And it's not because of Zaya Wade. It's not because of her. They're going to look at her and say, oh, there's an agenda, y'all. We need to stop populating. No, that's not going to stop that. That's not going to stop men from being men, okay? If you're threatened by a child living their truth, then something is wrong with you. And Michelle Obama, first of all, nobody say nothing about Michelle Obama.
That part.
They go again. Y'all brothers, man, you better not say nothing about Michelle Obama. And you men in general, better not talk about Oprah either. That's the mother goddess and that's mother queen. Them two, mother goddess and mother queen, man. Don't have an opinion about them, not a negative one.
But second of all, Michelle Obama is motivating as an elder, as she should, and then we get mad at elder for not motivating and empowering the youth. And then when they do it, now they're on a demonic agenda. Bye.
I think two things could be possible at the same time. I think the fact that what Michelle Obama was doing was encouraging to a child. She was looking out for someone, an individual, and other kids that are like that. On the other hand, I think some people are not properly articulating how uncomfortable they may feel about a child being pushed, what they think. They may think the child being pushed to the front of the agenda, pushed to be the face of this. Now, if Zaya is 1,000% okay with that, then I'm all for it. But
and that's where I'm at with Claudia. One of the rare times you'll hear me agree with Claudia Jordan is a child shouldn't be made the face of any of this at all.
Claudia, is people surprised or taken aback by the push of changing him to a her surgically?
I think that
it was a lot he was threatened by, to be very honest.
It's a lot. And I feel like it's really none of my business, but this is our job to talk about these things. When someone when you were going through.
Now, see, that's usually Claudia's way of saying I disagree, and I don't want the feminists. I'm with you, sister. I don't want y'all to come get me, but this is my job to speak on it. And what he said was what he said. Michelle, this is not a conversation the former wife or the wife of the former president, the first lady, should be speaking on. It's not your business. And you don't use a child to further an agenda, which is what she did.
Puberty, early on in your life, there were so many different thoughts in your head. I didn't know what I was supposed to be or what was normal.
Thank you. So now you're putting this child in a box. Now you've placed them in. It's one thing Puffy used to always say to the rappers. Your first album is where you have the most freedom at. Because once we release this to the world, if they like it, you got to stay in this box, man. Can't get out. So now what happens if Zaya wants to turn back to Zion? Does he have an option? If they force this whole thing through, he gets his genitalia mutilated and all that. You don't have an option to turn back now. You don't even let this play out for the world to see at this point. This is what I say D-Wade is dealing in Hollywood, man, and they've allowed his child to be a sacrificial lamb almost. But you don't want this to play out for the world to see, because at 11, 12, 13, 14, we all think back to those days. We didn't know what we wanted to be. You wanted to be 10 different things when you grew up to be an adult. You liked certain things, certain women when you was a kid. You didn't like that when you was an adult. So you don't push a child to do that.
But what are these weird feelings I'm having? And I mean weird to me, right? So I just hope that there are no regrets later on. I want Zaya at the end of it to not feel any pressure. Like if Zaya ever felt like, you know what? I don't feel this way anymore. Does Zaya feel this uncomfortable, this ridiculous amount of pressure to not be able to go back? And not saying that she wants to, but I just feel like such a young age to have so much pressure on her shoulders. But the thing with Mrs. Obama and Zaya was not wrong. She was encouraging a child, and that should be commended. There should be no criticism for that. Vivica, what do you think?
Should be criticism for when you're encouraging a child to make adult decisions.
I thought it was beautiful. I mean, and Zaya is just.
It's just another old bat who's just part of feminist movement, and that just is what it is. Like I told you, when that train gets to moving, whether they agree with it or not, they disagree with it, they're gonna get on TV and all these interviews. They're gonna agree with the big grin and talk about it later behind her back.
I mean, every time that you see her, because she's happy. She's happy in the skin she's in. And to those that don't like it.
And they tell you, looks happy, appears to be happy. Robin Williams appeared to be happy until we woke up that morning and found out he committed suicide and he was dead. There's a lot of people who appear to be happy on a day-to-day basis and are fighting a lot of demons in the inside. And you wake up one morning or you get a phone call in the middle of the night and that person is taking their life. So let's not get to looking at whether somebody is smiling. I smile a lot of times to keep from crying. I'll tell people that in a heartbeat. You'll see me smirk and I'm burning up in the inside. So don't go because I'm laughing and joking to think I don't have serious things going on at home or serious things I'm wrestling with at that point.
Do know that this is a child her family supports her 100%. And I commend.
Notice they keep saying child.
Gabrielle and Dwayne for letting her be who she is.
And again, you hear what they said? Gabrielle and Dwayne. They have replaced the mother with Gabrielle Union, and Gabrielle Union is the mother of Zaya Wade. That is what this has become, the old switcheroo. They've birthed Zaya Wade. They've taken, I think it's like I said, I think his name was Zion. I'm not sure though. I think Zaire the oldest, and I think his name was Zion, now Zaya. But if the mother says she wasn't cool with this, and she never knew any of these feelings, then you have to wonder, where did all of this come from?
You know, you guys, it's a new day. You know, y'all talk about how y'all don't want the police to abuse y'all and treat y'all wrong, this, and the third. Let that child live. You know, to come out with such a harsh statement, you know, when here is the first lady showing an example to other African American women to if your child is different, look at them, accept them, love them.
Embrace them.
Now, see, what you'll hear women like this, though, later, 10 years from now, when what this real agenda is put forward and it's now accepted, and I'm going to get to that literally in a few minutes, is, hey, man, I didn't know. Same as they did with Dr. King when he said, I feel I led my people into a burning building. They're going to come to you and tell you they had no clue, man. They had no clue. And it's why I get to this point where I keep trying to tell you guys, you have to sometimes be able to have enough foresight to look 10 years down the line and say, yes, this is this now, but what does this open the door for?
Love them. And key word, love them through it. And what is the alternative? And you look into your child's face and say,
and reject
no,
them.
I don't agree with that. And then they go out and still be who they feel they.
This is them telling you allow the child to be an adult as a child.
They are, because please understand, whether or not you like it or not, they're still going to be who they are, but in front of your face or behind your back. So what is the alternative? To allow them to go out and be it unsafe, unsupervised, not with your love, not with your mentorship, your support. You know what I'm saying? That I would, as a mama, I would like, I would never do that to my child. Like, you have to love your child. That baby would.
And it's easy to say what you wouldn't do because this is not your child. This is not you and Keywan's child. So it's easy to say when you taking a step back and you're not involved in this to say, hey, I would never do this. This is not your child. I would love to see if this was your child, how you would feel though. If you would want your child out in the open like this, taking these darts and being the human shield for these movements and these agendas.
In that mama's stomach. Okay, so however they gonna be is how they gonna be. You gotta love them regardless. If you don't love them, somebody else will show them a carbon copy of what love is supposed to look like.
Now, before I even get into that statement she's saying right there, those are women who have daddy issues. They always use that. I made all of the wrong decisions with men because you didn't love me enough. That's all that is. Now, let's get into what the agenda is. What I feel the agenda is. The agenda is to get rid of pedophilia. Well, to be legal for a child to have sex with adults. See, this is why I say these people they can't see 10 years down the line. Because right now, you're fighting for 10-year-old children to be able to say, I'm gay. If a 10-year-old is telling you he's gay or she's gay, what is she saying then? That's a sexual preference. So you can't be gay until you have sex with somebody. You can have feelings. You may have gay feelings. You may have bisexual feelings. But if you're a 10-year-old boy, you're only gay because you have sexual feelings for another male. You're a lesbian woman because you have sexual feelings for another woman. It's that and that only. So now at this point, we're talking a 10-year-old kid. I think, like I said, I think this goes back 2-3 years now. So we're talking 10 or 11 at this point. This child was making a decision about sexual preference, what was cool, what wasn't cool, what they was into, what they weren't into. And you hear these women, you hear Selena steady saying, let that child be, let her live her life, support their decisions. You hear Vivica saying the same thing. The pushback you get, shockingly, is from Claudia Jordan. Like I said, never agree with her, but that's interesting. So now we let them be. We allow them to now be transgenders, change their sexual orientation, all of that. That's fine. Where does it end, though? Does it end 5-10 years from now when this new conversation comes up? When you can't tell me who I can and can't have sex with. See, then you hear these women start to sing a different tune. Because that's where all of this will be headed soon. It's now the 10-year-old will be asking, will you let me? You said I was adult enough to turn myself from boy to girl or girl to boy. I should be adult enough to have sex, right? And choose who I want to have sex with, right? And this is when I say these people, they can't see that far down the line. Because it will be then 25, 30-year-olds start sleeping with 11 and 12-year-old girls. It won't be that these women have an issue with the. I'm going to be honest with you now and say this. A lot of women don't really have issues with older men sleeping with younger women. Not the way you think they do. They have this issue out of pure jealousy because that younger girl is now infringing on her dating prospects. That's all this is about. And it's why I always tell people I have that issue with the whole R. Kelly thing, because that's not pedophilia. R. Kelly is a lot of things. A pedophile, no. See, a pedophile, you're talking about somebody who's just attracted to little kids. That's it. He ain't interested in no adults. When that 8, 9, 10-year-old, 11-year-old, that 12-year-old girl starts to develop breasts and look like a woman, once she's about 15, 16, he cool. He don't want to see that no more. I'm going to something younger. That's when you're dealing with pedophilia. Like I said, when I was in high school, we had a rule going into prom. The girls couldn't bring 17, 18-year-old girls, high school seniors. You couldn't bring, I think it was like 25, 26. You couldn't bring a man any older than that. So see, this exists already. They don't really have an issue with it. It's just this infringing and imposing on their dating prospects. But like I said, will we have an issue when this 10-year-old now, because all this is, like I said, sexual preference. So if he's allowed to be gay and you want to support that at 10 years old, are you going to have the same support when he say, I'm in love with a 25-year-old man? Will he be allowed to make that adult decision? Will she be allowed to make that adult decision? When she says, we paid for the genital reassignment surgery. I don't have a penis anymore. I have a vagina. I want to go use it now. Will you be upset then? Will they be allowed to have the same freedom of choice when they're 10, 11 years old and they want to sleep with a 30-year-old man? See, at that point, then these women will come and say that's a child. They shouldn't be allowed to make those decisions. And this is when I tell you, you guys have to be very mindful of who you're letting lead you into the future. Because all of this is I won't say it's weird, but me and my daughter at this point, my youngest daughter is 12. If she comes to me and say, Daddy, I think I'm into women, that's fine. So be it. I'm going to love her regardless. Are we going to be talking about, I want to be a guy? Well, that's fine. When you get 18, 19, 20, and you can pay for that surgery, that's cool. But see, when you start encouraging certain things, now you have to ask yourself, where do we draw the line? At what age do we draw the line? Those are the questions you got to ask. What age do we draw the line? Because at 10 and 11, if Zaya Wade is allowed to now say, I want to make these type of adult decisions, will you now be very encouraging of the adult decision for that 11 and 12 and 13-year-old to sleep with a 40-year-old man? When you see them parading her around in halter tops, in belly shirts, and leggings, and all of this, and they're going to gay pride parades where it's naked people walking around and it's just promoting a whole bunch of sexuality. What are we doing at that point? What conversations are we having? What message are you sending? See, I don't think we look at things for what they are sometimes. We love to look at everything else and say, no, this country will never be, this globe will never be that crazy to try and legalize pedophilia. Oh, really? So I'm doing episodes deep dives right now on The Color Purple, revisiting it 30 years later, where you go back and you watch that and you're watching Celie's father when Celie is 14 years old say he marrying a woman close to my age. We don't know if she's younger or a little older, but he was also sleeping with the little sister. So if just 120 years ago we was cool with 12 and 13-year-old girls sleeping with 30, 40-year-old men, don't think we won't be. We've already lived in that type of world before. So let's not act like it didn't exist or it didn't happen. But like I said, when they keep saying this agenda is for this and for that, no. My opinion, the agenda is just they want to do away with the term pedophilia. They want to make it legal and normal for adults and children again to have sex. So it's your boy, The Hood Nerve, with a quick dive. Subscribe to the channel, hit the like, hit the subscribe button. I'm out.